Hey everyone, thank you so much for tuning into this episode on self-love. Just a quick heads up, in this episode there is some background noise due to recording conditions I couldn't fully control. I appreciate your understanding and patience. This message is still powerful and I hope it resonates with you, even with a little real life noise in the background. Thank you for growing with me. Hey everyone, welcome back to the DSM Podcast, where we talk about what it really means to take care of yourself, mind, and soul. I'm your host, Darisha, and today we're talking about something that's a huge part of healing, growth, and real self-love: boundaries. Now, I know just hearing that word might make you feel a little nervous. Maybe you've tried setting boundaries before and it didn't go well. Maybe you were never taught what a healthy boundary even looks like, and that's okay. That's why we're here. Today's episode is all about how to practice boundaries as a beginner, especially if you're on a self-love journey and learning how to honor your own needs for a first time. Let's start with what boundaries actually are. Boundaries are just limits. That's it. They're the lines you draw to protect your emotional space, your time, your energy, your values, and your mental health. Think of boundaries like a fence, not a wall. A wall keeps everyone out. A fence shows where your space begins and ends. It lets people know how to interact with you in a way that feels good and also respectful. So, how you actually do it? Well, let me tell you, especially if you've never been taught. Ask yourself, where in my life do I feel drained, resentful, or anxious? Those things are usually your body's way of telling you that a boundary has been crossed or never existed. Now, I can tell you guys that sometimes when people do things that I don't like, I get nervous as well and don't approach it, or I don't address it. And some people in life, they have a hard time doing that because they're not confident enough to speak in their boundaries. But again, if you don't like something, it's okay to say it. Say it, address it, so a person knows, because if a person doesn't know, they're going to keep doing it. And you're going to keep getting played. It might be a friend who calls you at 2 a.m. to vent every night, or a coworker who constantly dumps, their task on you, or even just your own habit of always saying yes when you really mean no. Some people in the world, when in that situation, you might feel like a person's gonna cuss you out for saying no, or a person's gonna beat you up for saying no. I mean, there's different kinds of people in the world, and there's people that will get mad at you for saying no, but no means no, and you have to stand on it and don't say sorry for saying no. When a person's reaction is not the reaction that you expected after saying no to something that you don't approve of, tolerate, or you just see as disrespectful, or no means no. Let's start small. Don't start with your most high-stake relationship. That's like running a marathon when you've never stretched before. Instead, practice in low-pressure situations. Here's an example. If a friend asks to hang out and you're exhausted, try saying, "I'd love to see you, but tonight I really need to rest. Can we plan for another day?" That doesn't just go for friends. That goes for relationships, parents, family members. That goes for anybody. But that was just an example. That's a boundary, and you didn't even say no. You just honored yourself. But again, it's okay to say no. Let's use clear, kind language, because sometimes some people use their boundaries and do come off aggressive. And when it's a person's first time crossing a boundary, that they didn't know about, it's okay to, give that boundary with respect. Say, hey, I don't like that, this is that. Don't come straight off aggressive, because you're basically making the person feel like they knew that, that was a boundary they shouldn't cross. You understand? So you can set boundaries, but let's do it in a respectful way. Now, it's different if a person kept crossing a boundary after you done, set a boundary over and over again. But again, for a person that disrespects you shouldn't have to repeat your boundary over and over again, because they already know from the first time. So they're basically telling you, I don't respect you. So let's use clear and kind language. You don't have to sound aggressive. You don't have to explain your entire life story. You can be firm and kind at the same time. Try phrases like, I'm not available for that. I need some space right now. That doesn't work for me. I'll get back to you after I have the time to think. Accept some discomfort. Let's be real. It might feel awkward at first. You might feel guilty for setting a boundary. You might worry about how the other person will react. But here's the truth. Feeling guilty doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. It means you're doing something new, because your body is not used to speaking up on boundaries. For those that don't have boundaries, for those that's scared to speak up for their self when things are being, when something that you don't like is being done to you, you're breaking a pattern. And that's why that's always uncomfortable at first. But that doesn't mean it's wrong. It means you're growing. It means your body is adjusting to something new. Same way as eating regular food from eating healthy food. Your body is not used to eating healthy food, so it's adjusting. And it takes time. Same with, boundaries. Some people will push back when you set a boundary, especially if they were benefiting from your lack of room. When someone tests it, just calmly repeat it. You don't need to argue. You can say, I know this might be new, but this is important to me. Like I mentioned before, I'm not available for that. Consistency is how boundaries stick. If setting boundaries make your anxiety spike, ground yourself, breathe, put a hand on your chest, and remind yourself, I'm allowed to take care of myself. I don't have to earn peace. I can choose it. So this week, I want you guys, I'm gonna give you guys a journal. So today's reminder is this. Boundaries are not about keeping people out. They're about keeping yourself safe, steady, and whole. Okay? You're not being mean. You're not being selfish. You're being loving to yourself. So here's a journal prompt to leave with you. I want this to be the week topic of as a beginner, to know what boundaries are and how to set boundaries for beginners. And you can write this in a journal, you can write this in your notes on your phone. Where in my life do I consistently feel overwhelmed? And what is one small boundary I can set this week to protect my peace? I want you guys to focus on that. And I want you guys to write. And take time, don't just rush yourself to answer it over something recent that happened. Kind of sit back and be like, what is something I don't like that everybody in my life does? Different people that I meet. And it's not just from family members, like all these people that you meet, and they do something that you don't like. And they all do the same thing that you didn't like. They didn't know, and you didn't speak up about it. Now you can write that down and work on when the next person crosses that boundary, you can set it and you can speak up. Don't be afraid. That's it for today's episode. If this resonated with you, share with someone who's learning how to protect their peace too. Don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and drop a comment. Again, what's one boundary you're ready to try this week? Remember, self-love isn't just how you treat yourself, it's what you allow and no longer allow. Thanks for listening. I will talk to you next time. DSM Podcast.